The following program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption.
Today's broadcast is being simulcast in broken English.
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
Welcome to the show that we're doing right now.
What the hell are we doing on this show?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Let's go. What is this? Giggity, 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 goo.
Who else but
The Q?
it's showtime! Gentlemen, let's get down to business.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the QNow. You're listening to the best pop culture, current events, and current affairs show east or west of that Mississippi River, hailing from the great city of St. Louis, Missouri, and worldwide at theqnow.com. I am your host, Mark Bland, joined today by none other than my co-host, one Mr. Jason Cole. What's up, Jay?
What is up, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Is things
I'm
going
okay.
well in your life?
You know what?
Things
So
are
far,
going well?
Today's okay.
Today's been okay?
Yeah. Right?
You haven't flown any helicopters in anything or done
Nope.
anything bad?
Everything's clear my way.
Everything's clear. Everything's good.
Right.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know that there is tragedy amongst the nation tonight. We had a plane crash in Washington, D.C., and Donald Trump couldn't get through the press conference
Right.
without blaming everybody else in the entire world.
Yeah.
Literally everybody else except for
white people.
The pilot of the military that was flying the Black Hawk, specifically a Black Hawk.
Yeah.
Guys, not something that they sell to Augie Bush to fly to Bush Stadium in. No, they use this for
Not a
military maneuvers, okay?
Yes.
So it's a Black Hawk. It's a military helicopter. Kash Patel has the funniest and most ridiculous political discussion on his attempt at becoming
He's a
FBI
shady
director.
one.
It is
He's a shady dude. You
It's
don't
quite-
want that.
but it's quite entertaining,
Right.
Jay. Let's be honest. It's super entertaining to people like me and you because it's just so outlandish, the things. We'll talk about that too. And evidently, playing freeze tag with Medicaid and people's government benefits is the new cool thing to do. So we're going to break that
Didn't
down.
go over very well.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's just one day's worth of news
Yeah.
out of 8
That all happened in
full
one day.
days, okay? That's out of 8 full days, okay? That's one day, and I've got 7 other days we can pull from if I want to. And we talked about some of the stuff from 7 days
Right,
ago
this
on
is
that
what-
show last week.
This is what we talked about. Remember we talked about Donald Trump winning again was like if the Joker ran for mayor and won in Gotham. And he was mayor now. And he's putting people in positions. And now the Riddler's in charge of the police because Commissioner Gordon's in jail.
Yes.
And this is what's going on with Mark Milley. Taking your stride, or we're taking one of your stars.
Well, let's talk about
or we're
that for a
taking your
second.
detail.
Listen,
and take that.
Before we get into this stuff with the press conference
Yes.
and Trump and the plane crash and all that, let's talk a little bit about that Mark Milley situation. That's
Yeah.
kind of a weird thing, ladies and gentlemen. You see, you have one of the highest ranking members of the United States military who was given a security detail specifically for the fact that he has people that are trying to kill him. He literally has death threats coming in from high-end terroristic organizations. Which, by the way, if you weren't paying attention to 9/11, they can live amongst you and then fly your planes into buildings if they want to. So there might be people already
They don't glow.
sleeper cell style
Well, think
sitting
about
in
it.
the
I mean,
United States
isn't
waiting to take a shot at Mark Milley.
Like, isn't that their goal to blend in?
Right. Well,
Right?
look,
Like,
listen.
people act
for
like
all
they act like terrorists.
For all the Gravy Seal supporters out there with their gun this and their blah, 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 that, they keep
Right.
forgetting the tactics that are used within the world that they pretend that they live in and work in. And it's funny to me because it's like, oh, I'm not that person and I can do it. I can do it. I can break a 6-hour down. Like, stop this. Calm down.
If our military consisted of guys who said, if I was on one of those planes, that wouldn't have happened, we would have like 35 million people strong, and our military would be massive.
Ridiculous. It was crazy. It would be crazy. That's what happened after 9/11.
We're already the world's strongest.
I had
force.
2 friends who specifically signed up to be in the military after 9/11,
Right.
specifically because
There were.
the planes crashed into the buildings and terrorists were the ones that were flying
them
them.
died.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. But a guy like a Mark Milley, That's a pretty high-level profile individual, and I get it.
That's a man of integrity.
He's butthurt because Donald Trump went on stage to all those people and said, we don't bow to kings and tyrants and all this. And it's really funny because, Donald Trump is the first one to say that he is the biggest purveyor of the Constitution and understanding the laws of our country. Right.
He loves it.
He understands our country so well.
He doesn't know it. He doesn't know it, but he loves it.
And he knows our country so well that he can't recite it.
Right?
Do you see what I'm saying? He doesn't understand
I love it.
how it works, but he loves it so much. And then when we go, that's not how this works. It works this way, Jason.
He's like that guy at your office that's a huge Eagles fan right now.
Right.
Or like, we know you're not an Eagles fan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to be able to get away from the top news story in the nation right now. In a press conference for our first topic, President Donald Trump blamed the plane crash near Washington, D.C. on DEI initiatives.
Right. Who's that?
Hold on, Jay. Let me get through this.
Yes.
So give me a second.
Yes.
I know you're excited. I know you're like a dog chomping at the bit. I just got to pull you back for a second. Just 1 second. On DEI initiatives within the FAA and Department of Transportation, along with the policies of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Barack Obama, who hasn't been there for 10 solid years, but just stick with me, guys. The crash involved American Airlines Flight 5342 colliding midair with the Black Hawk helicopter, resulting in a 64-person death toll. Trump claimed the administration had improved aviation standards, but suggested DEI hiring practices compromised safety, though he admitted he had no direct evidence of that whatsoever.
Right.
His administration had previously eliminated federal DEI programs and made leadership changes in aviation security over the past week, ladies and gentlemen.
And put a hiring freeze on those men and women who would have been up there.
Critics swiftly condemned Trump's remarks. Senator Gary Peters called them irresponsible, urging a fact-based investigation. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg called Trump's comments despicable, noting that during the Biden administration, aviation safety improved. Democratic leaders like Chuck Schumer and Ayan Presley accused Trump of politicizing a tragedy while victims' families grieved. American Airlines CEO Robert Isom pledged accurate updates, while Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended Trump's policies, insisting that the hiring the best and the brightest is the way to be. The FAA confirmed the crash details, but had not determined its cause. Search and rescue efforts continue, and Trump's appointing a new acting FAA administrator and promising further policy changes to prevent future incidents. Now, Jason, a couple of things that I noticed
and the brightest
right out of this conversation that we just presented.
And the white.
Just this news story that I presented.
Yes.
Based off of what I presented there, we're going to get into our opinions here in a second.
Yes.
And they are our opinions, ladies and gentlemen. That is what the QNow is. It is our show where we opinionate, and these are our opinions. They're just opinions. You have your own opinions, and we're not forcing anyone to do anything or believe anything. We're just talking to you about the news stories that exist in the world today. And what I've noticed from this is I've got people who work as liberals in the government claiming this is kind of a bad time to try to politicize the deaths of people so that you can kind of benefit off of it. Now, this happens with every school shooting, every day.
All the time.
This is very typical. But what's really interesting was that piece that I said, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended Trump's policies. You see, ladies and gentlemen, your own defense secretary, who should be worried about the defense of the nation, and if there was a terroristic attack, that should be his focus, and making sure that the citizens of America are the most. His most important thing that he needed to get out there and let everybody know is that Donald Trump is right about affirmative action and DEI hires, and that because black people and people of color could have jobs. Because they could have jobs, it's obvious that that's what led to this situation right here.
Look what you get.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit you with the biggest first piece of information that you need to know. So listen to me here on the Gateway Fiber Studios of KYRO, the home of conservatism, okay?
This thing keeps hitting me in the leg.
You okay, buddy?
No, there's like a...
There's a what?
It's like a broken piece off the side of this thing.
Then bust it off and throw it away. I don't know what to tell you.
Bust it off. but it sticks out and
well,
it hits you
we
in the
might
ankle
need
and
to
it
get
feels weird.
we might need to get the station's janitorial crew or like whatever crew to like fix the maintenance crew. Sorry, the maintenance crew to fix
I'll
whatever.
leave a note.
We need to leave a note.
Just need some Gorilla Glue.
You know, the best place to leave a note.
It's like an
right there under the back left edge of that chair, like right on the ground.
Things
right
are noticed there.
So that's where people notice things. I'm just saying, like people notice things there. That's all we can tell you that. So here's the big piece of advice, information that everybody needs to know. Joe Biden, who was named along with Kamala Harris and another person. Listen, we first off we mentioned affirmative action and DEI hiring.
Right, get that one out of the way.
Then we said Barack Obama specifically.
Yeah, boom.
Then we brought up Kamala Harris specifically.
He's doing it.
Because she was just in the election and he won.
Take
so he's
her down,
he's got to beat her chest about it. I beat her. I beat her.
Got a dumb.
And then he brought up Joe Biden, which was the guy that was in charge right before him. Okay, now what is noticeable about all of those things that I just lumped into that? One of these things is not like the
all
other.
All of them are wrong. And he's right.
Well, no. The thing is that three of them are black.
Well, yeah,
they're black.
yeah.
They're about black people or black people and people of color and black people or black people and people of color or people of color. Jay,
they don't have to
something
take our,
like that.
They don't have to take our word for it. But his nastier remarks and things he says are reserved for women and women of color specifically, and then other people of color. White people, he got him attacks with humorous, buffoonish type nicknames, but he has venom for women.
All right. Now, with that being stated right there, Joe Biden was president for the last 4 years.
He was.
And during that 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency, 0 plane crashes at all. So the same guy with the same policies for 4 solid years. So somebody could have listen. This is how easy it is to figure out, Jay. Somebody could have been hired in 2021 off of these Joe Biden DEI initiatives and policies.
Done pretty well.
And then for 3 years, they didn't crash a plane or a helicopter at all for those 3 years. But the minute Donald Trump got in, all of a sudden, plane crash. They decided, I'm going to do a plane crash now, and it's obviously going to be because I was hired under Joe Biden. Nope, that's not how the world works. We all know that it was just I had a conversation with my mom, Jay. And, your mom listens to the show. Sometimes my mom checks out the show, and, they get into conversations with us. We're politicals. That's what we do. We talk politics to everybody. And one of the things that I mentioned to her, I was like, Mom, they're always looking for the exception to the rule.
Yes.
They're always
got to find the one.
They got to find the one, and if they find the one exception to the rule, it doesn't matter what the historical relevance over the entire time is. We've got this one. And so this time, it really should have happened under Joe Biden's last couple of weeks of his presidency so that Donald Trump could really stick it to him the right way. But the problem is it happened under Donald Trump's presidency. And as Donald Trump explained to all of us, after he lost in 2020 on press conferences and at rallies after the fact, this is Joe Biden's economy and Joe Biden's country now. So all of that's Joe Biden's problem. Well, guess what? Donald Trump. This is now Donald Trump's country and Donald Trump's FAA and Donald Trump's everything. It's Donald Trump's problem. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. You know what's really funny? The other person who likes to hang out in the White House and talks about aircraft flying through the air all the time, nowhere to be found around this entire situation. Not sitting around, hanging out anywhere.
He did something.
Not doing anything. Just kind of like
He's been
laying low, not really wanting to be out there.
Easy, fellas.
Probably working on autism and helping himself with his autism.
No, he did give like a speech somewhere. I had like a sit down, but I don't know if it was in person, where he defended like not feeling bad about your ancestors to a bunch of Germans.
Now, also inside of this situation, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot more to talk about. We're going to take a quick break here on the QNow, and when we come back, we're going to finish this with you guys. We're going to talk a little bit more because a couple more things I want to say about this helicopter and this plane crash. So we'll be back right on the show after this. 105.3 FM, KYRO, 102.5 WIBH. Welcome back to the QNow. Mark Bland, Jason Call, hanging out with you guys on a Thursday night, every Thursday night from the Gateway Fiber Studios of News Radio, KYRO.com. You could join us and listen to us, share with your friends and family. A lot of good shows on at KYRO. So check out newsradiokyro.com. Welcome back to the Q. We were in the middle of discussing the airplane crash along with the helicopter and all of that. And on Donald Trump's second day, I had mentioned in that news story, Jason, that on Donald Trump's second day, he fired the head of the Transportation Security Administration, the TSA, fired the entire Aviation Security Advisory Committee, and froze hiring on all air traffic controllers and fired the top 100 FAA security officers. Now,
he got rid of that FAA guy because Elon Musk told him to.
Okay, this is weird, and I'll explain why. Have you ever seen the movie Pushin' Tin? Have you ever seen Pushin' Tin with Billy Bob Thornton?
Is Tim Robbins in that?
Yeah, and so is what's his name? The young dude who's in Grosse Pointe Blank, Cusack. John Cusack and Billy Bob. Remember, they're
siding salesmen, right?
No, they're air traffic controllers. That live for a living. That's what they do for a living. The whole movie is about air traffic, and Pushin' Tin is the airplanes, the tin.
The term for moving the airplanes around.
Right, exactly. And so what's really crazy about it is you learn in that movie, which, by the way, whenever they make a Hollywood movie of any sort, because Donald Trump loves movies and TV shows, so let me explain something.
Remember we were talking about Jimmy Carter going on, performing?
Right, but let me explain this. His favorite thing is movies and TV shows, so let me explain how some of them are made. They'll go out and do a bunch of research and talk to people that work within these industries. Air traffic controllers does have a high turnover ratio, but the ones that stick it out past the first year or two end up usually sticking around for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And that's a very common occurrence. It is a very stressful job, but the ones that can handle it, it pays well, they like their job, and they stick around. If you went out and fired a bunch of air traffic controllers, that doesn't help anything. Now, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, do not think that because Donald Trump fired a bunch of ATC people, right, that immediately meant at Reagan International Airport they were going to go down to one person watching all the planes for the next 72 months in a row, and that's because Donald Trump. No, that's not what happened.
There was one guy doing two jobs.
Listen,
but they said that's normal.
That's fine. They have a full staff that is handling one of the busiest airports in the world, not the country, the world. It's already in the top 2 in the country. We're talking in the world. So, guys, they have a full staff of people that are there talking to the helicopters, talking to the airliners, talking to all the people. There's no need to get rid of people like that from their jobs. By going through with this big swatch of 100 FAA security officers and all froze the hiring of all air traffic controllers and all that, what you're doing is you're making things less safe. Why would you freeze the hiring of a bunch of people that are in charge of people's lives up in the air? In fact, right now you're in the middle of an airplane crash situation, which is why all this news is even being talked about. And literally the only thing everybody wants is that plane to still be together, those people to still be alive, and to that helicopter to have not crashed into them. That's it. Like, that's all everybody wants, is this to go backwards, reverse, time machine to the way it was 2 hours before it happened, when everything was fine and nobody had gotten hurt yet. That's what those air traffic controllers are for. That's what these advisory members are for. That's what these positions within the government, Jason, are for, to help with keeping our country running properly, secure and safe, and everybody's on the same page. By coming through in this last week and a half,
dismantling
and just slashing everything you could with the biggest machete you could find. It's outlandish.
Yeah.
It really is. Because here's the thing.
Right? They cut too deep and they found out fast.
As we've said on this show many times, Jay.
Yes.
I'm a moderate.
Yeah, you are.
You are the liberal on this show. I am mostly the moderate. There are things that I think that Jason does not agree with. That's okay.
I hang out in center field
He hangs out in center field for what it's worth, but at the same point, Jason is more of a liberal. Like you said, Kennedy Democrat is what he likes to call himself. Right? I don't have there's no centrist person I could pull from and go, oh, I'm a such and such and such, right? Because I really do pull some Pete Buttigieg in there every once in a while. But I might also grab some Donald Trump. I don't hate Donald Trump. I am not one of these people who hates Donald Trump, like seethes with anger at him.
Let's just say
I can tell you this.
I don't hate his policy.
I don't have a problem with a deregulation and states' rights type president. He was already that for 4 years. We dealt with it. Our problem, me and Jay and many people, like a Pete Buttigieg, have right now in this country with Donald Trump is how fast you are going through everything and doing this without any real
You have no idea what you're
background to it. And even in the story I wrote, that I read here, like when they asked Donald Trump, he didn't have a clear understanding of why he believed DEI was the reason. Like he didn't have any proof. So it's like they're just saying things to scare you.
Right.
And
you know what he's like? He's like letting a squirrel loose in your house. You know, like, oh, maybe he'll go hide in a corner. And like, nope, he's chewing wires. Oh, he's chewing wires. Oh, he tore everything apart. That's what he is.
Here's what I challenge all conservatives listening to our show to do. If you hear of a news story that happens, go find 3 more examples of it. So when you heard from Donald Trump's mouth at the debates with Kamala Harris that they're eating cats and dogs.
Go get that.
Okay, great. Take that news story and grab it, okay? Put that off to the side. Now go look up Haitian immigrants or immigrants, cats, and dogs and find another city in the country where it's happening and then find another one.
Yeah, it can't just be them.
By the way, Jason, you got a baseball cap on.
I do.
What crappy team is that from?
That is the Chicago Cubs.
And they play the sport of?
They are baseball players.
Baseball. They're baseball players.
Yeah.
And what's the rule at bat? How many strikes do you get?
You get 3.
You get 3, and then you're out.
That's
like
it.
You're done.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So if we play by the same rules of baseball,
right?
You find out cats and dogs are eaten in Ohio. Great.
Yes.
Go find it in Florida. Go find it in Texas, Missouri, Kentucky, Idaho, Colorado, California.
Everywhere.
Go find 2 more stories, so it's 3 strikes and you're out. Then you come back to guys like me and Jason and go, here's story 1, here's story 2, here's story 3 that can be independently verified from 3 different places. Then we look you in the face and go, well, that's kind of crazy. You got multiple stories about this happening in 3 different cities, thousands of miles away from each other. They couldn't possibly be connected in that regards. This must be some endemic problem that is starting to rear its ugly head and that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, some
there it
culture's
is.
Leaking over, and it's crazy.
So if you had 3 airplane crashes leading up to the general election, and then you had 1 right after you took the inauguration, you could easily look back and say, obviously, policies put in place during the Biden administration have led to these issues over here. I've got multiple examples of airplane crashes, and these things need to get switched over. Guys like me and Jason, I know you do not like Mr. Trump. I understand that.
I do not.
I understand that. But I've also asked you off the air before.
Yes.
I'll ask you now on the air. If the man comes and sits down and has a conversation, and the things he's saying makes sense to you as a person, like literally it's Donald Trump, the way he talks, all the flabbergasting, all the hyperbole, all that blah, 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 blah. Great.
Yes.
But when he says it, we sit there and listen to it and go, okay, I see what he's talking about. Like, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be the first one, maybe the first liberal in the country. The idea that we should deport illegal immigrants is 100% fine. Do you know why? Number one,
it's illegal.
They're illegal.
Right?
There it is, Jay.
There you go.
Jason, the liberal, right out of his mouth. First word there was,
I don't
they're
know if
illegal.
we have to do what they're doing, but
No. That let me get to my points, Jay. You got to let me build these things up, baby.
You have to deport them, though. I mean, that's
the reason we've become the best liberal radio show in the United States of America is because we formulate our opinions the way we do. Now, here's my point. I've got Donald Trump sitting there telling you these things, and we'd go, oh, yeah, that sounds right to us. Then we go do our research and realize he's right. We wouldn't come on the station and go, you know what Donald Trump told us? All these truthful things. He's a liar. And we don't think he's telling the truth at all
have to
because he's a jerk and he's an a-hole. No, we're not conservatives.
No.
We don't play the game for ourselves. Like, conservatives, listen, you want to know what conservatives think?
Yes.
They think they're smarter than liberals. They think that they're smarter than liberals.
Sure,
like right now we have a situation, right? Our video, right, is this, that, and the other. Great. Who cares? With the station. I understand. We've got the video. We do the video. It's awesome.
Gotcha.
We appreciate it. We love it. Okay. They're switching up the way that they want to do the video layout and how it runs and how we're going to put it out, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We're cool with all of this. Listen, if you want to take our stuff and blast it out and get us more listeners and more viewers and more stuff, we're going to let you run with it. Go to town.
Yeah,
help us out. be our friend.
Let's do it.
We also know you're using our numbers to try to sell your own stuff. Come on, fools. Come on, fools. You think we don't do this? Get the hell out of here. We do this, bro. Like, this is our game. Stop this. Oh, my God. Like, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Oh, that was good.
Me and John have been in broadcasting for forever, and he's the owner of the station.
That is true.
Like, what do you
That is
expect? Like,
true.
we know the game and how it
You
works.
knew each other when I knew you.
We knew what happened and how it should go when the FCC got involved. That's why those conversations happen behind the scenes. Like, we know all of these things when they happen and how they go down. We just know we're that good at what we do. So it's always going to be us that they want anyway. If we just, like, watch this. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. That was dead air. That sucks. You're not supposed to do dead air in radio at all, but I'm proving a point. I did it to prove a point. So as long as I'm doing it to try and prove a point, to explain things to people, it's very simple. It's very simple. We are the talent. That's where they focus what they want. The reason you love Donald Trump is because you think he's so talented and awesome. That's why you love him, and that's why you cheer for him. Well, why do you think they cheer for us? Why do you think they click watch, like, share, this, that? Why? Why? Why would you know why? Hi. It's because of me and that guy. That's why. That's it.
I can see your hand.
Yeah, good. See my hand. I hope you see all my hands.
That one.
Yeah,
That one.
there it is.
It poked out in the bottom of the screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this world is easy to figure out and work with. On the back of that little piece, we're still talking about the plane crash.
Yeah.
He
that
literally
really sucks.
is saying that minorities are to blame for this.
How other way can you explain it?
Like, how other
who
way
are
can you explain
DEI
it?
employees?
Like,
who are they?
Who are they? Like,
Those are people.
where are
That's
these
their
people?
fault. Can you imagine? Do you imagine you're a non-white and you have to go to work tomorrow?
But do you
at
know
the
what this
FAA?
is? You know what this is? This is slowly.
Like, hey, everyone.
Listen, they're going to use any obviously they're going to be opportunistic. We call them opportunistic because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like the thing I just discussed, an opportunistic moment that they try. Got it. We get it. It's easy. These are definable words in the dictionary that when they're put together in sentences, we can go figure out what they say. And if you're part of the Donald Trump administration right now, and the first thing that happens of a major story is a plane crash, and the first thing you do is grab the argument of DEI
Right. What does that mean?
as what you're trying to do is use any opportunity to sell to the employer. Now think about this.
Yeah.
The majority of business owners in the United States of America, do you think they're pro-Trump or anti-Trump? Business owners.
They're probably pro-Trump.
Of course they are, because he talks about saving them on taxes
they
and
think
payroll.
that.
They think that he's going to make them rich like him.
I think they're wrong.
You're never going to be rich from him.
No.
You're going to get rich from Mark and Jason. You're never going to get rich
He's
from
not-
Donald
he's
Trump
not doing it.
or anybody like Elon Musk or anyone out there, because they're not there. We're here. They're not here doing anything for any of you. And
They have
the
immediately
reason I
offend
brought
half your
this up,
customers.
hold on, Jay. The reason I brought this up is simply this, bro.
Yes.
Simply this. If you're using these opportunities to sell this idea to business owners of, oh, DEI is the problem, affirmative action, hiring black people or people of color,
Yeah.
that's the issue.
Renting to them.
Elon doesn't even, he wants to bring smarter ones from other countries.
Yeah.
Your ones that you have here,
Yeah.
they're too dumb.
He's almost the exact opposite.
They're too dumb to even fly the helicopters you have here. Like, that's how dumb they are. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, what they're trying to do is gaslight a business owner into believing they shouldn't hire black people and people of color for
He's
jobs in the United States of America moving forward.
Yeah.
And guess what those business owners will start doing? They'll stop hiring people of color and
gonna happen.
minorities from their jobs.
We're gonna have a problem.
And by the way, here in Missouri, it all looks white half the time anyway,
Oh,
so
smart,
that's
yeah.
fine. Downtown St. Louis,
little
they're
different.
going to be hating it.
A little different.
They really are, and they have no idea. Also, Blacks for Trump sure set their plight back 250 years in a row. Like,
Can you imagine?
can you be? Being a Black for Trump, like Blacks for Trump is an actual organization, Jason.
That's
helped
true. That's
get
not a
him
joke.
elected, and now he
They
goes
did in some communities.
he literally goes on stage now on a press conference and goes, "Hey, thanks for electing me, but I don't need your vote anymore, and because
pretty
you're
much,
Black, I don't want your kids or your family members to even have jobs."
See ya.
See how awesome that is for you guys?
Like, can you imagine in Black communities, there's no jobs, even at like the gas stations? And you're this white kid named Ricky from St. Charles County, and you got a job down on Grand,
Jason,
and they all hate you.
There are
That'd be fun.
liberal shows on liberal networks.
Yes.
And people listen and watch those liberal networks, correct?
They do.
And then there's conservative shows on conservative networks, and people listen to those shows.
Maybe even more.
If only there was a liberal show on a conservative network that was so good at what they do that everyone notices and told you exactly how things would line out anyway. Wow. Imagine if that existed from the Gateway Fiber Studios of KYRO. Imagine if those people exist at all. And also, here's the other thing, too. The last piece I want to talk about.
Yes.
And I want to hear your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
He also is kind of questioning the value and ability of Army pilots with this situation.
If they were
DEI
hired, that's wink. If they were any color than white.
So this person who's been flying, like, by the way, they'll go and find out the information of this information. They'll find out how many years he's been flying. And when we find out he's been doing it for 25 years, we're going to go, oh, wow, 25 years. Once again, exception to the rule. He never died at all or crashed a helicopter for 25 years until this one moment where this happened. So it's like, how is he the problem? Or maybe it's just an accident.
I heard 6 to 8 years, but I don't know if that was the Army helicopter pilot or the pilot who was working for what's the airline? What airline was it?
Listen, if you've been able to keep an airplane or a helicopter in the sky for 8 years at all, multiple times, and you haven't done. And by the way,
I wouldn't.
Do you think anyone in that helicopter was like, "All right, guys, did you say bye to everybody because it's time for us to just go end our lives right now? We're all excited to do it as members of the military right now at 9:00 on a Wednesday because." Gosh, we could have chose prime time on Saturday while the Super Bowl was going on or a WWE pay-per-view, but no,
larger plane.
We chose now, and this plane
was a mistake.
By the way, and then once again, we could have chose a larger plane.
Yeah,
we only crashed into one that had 65 people on it, not a full plane. Like, do you understand the mental gymnastics of first? Saying the DEI thing, accusing black people of being a bad hire, also accusing the pilots in the military of being because remember he's pro-military, guys.
Focus.
You know the kind of you know what kind of pilots that Donald Trump loves the most, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the kind of pilots he loves the most.
I would say white guys.
Really? You think
I
that's
would
it?
think so.
Oh no! You know what he told me? The military members he likes the most are the ones that never get caught and put into the Hanoi Hilton.
Right.
So you know the kind of pilots he likes.
Weren't shot down.
Yeah, right. He likes the ones who weren't shot down or run into an airplane.
Right, because or
don't kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like he likes those kind
Mr.
of
pilots.
Right. Like really?
Like come on.
Like this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen, in America. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here on the Q Now. When we come back, more with myself and Jason Cole. We'll be back right after this. AM 105.3 FM KYRO. Excuse me. Welcome back to the Q Now. Jason Cole, myself, hanging out with you guys. We've been talking a lot in this last few minutes about this plane crash up in D.C. with Donald Trump and the DEI stuff and all that. But I want to kind of switch some gears here real quick, Jay, if that's okay with you. Are you cool with switching gears? Did you bring news stories for us? Did you bring news stories for us?
I did.
Where we do our news.
No, we thought we were going with.
We might.
With this.
Yeah, we are. We are.
I thought.
We got this. We're doing thoughts. We're doing thoughts. Hey, listen.
We can.
Kash Patel. Are you ready for Kash Patel?
Is the world ready for him?
I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Kash Patel, Donald Trump's nominee for FBI director, faced intense questioning at his Senate confirmation hearing on January 30th. Known for his loyalty to Trump, Patel was grilled by Democrats over his past statements about dismantling the FBI and prosecuting journalists. He was also asked about his views on January 6th riot and recent firings of the Justice Department officials involved in Trump's investigations. Patel distanced himself from those firings and pledged to protect FBI employees from political retaliation. Weird. Hey, Patel, can you protect Jason and me and the host of this radio station from political retaliation?
Yeah.
Could you do that? Could you do that for us American citizens here in the United States that literally pay taxes so that you have a job to help use the FBI? Help us as American citizens live here in our country and protect ourselves better. Can you do that for us? Because that would be really great. Yeah. I have children, too, that are United States citizens, not even people of color. So you don't even have to worry about that, Kash.
That's a plus.
By the way, Kash, you're not even allowed to be hired right now by Donald Trump.
Yeah,
according to Donald Trump, a person of
he's
color,
not the most qualified,
but he's a person of color. A person of color is definitely not qualified to be running anything because those hires are DEI hires.
We have a chart for that.
Patel emphasized his commitment to cutting U.S. crime rates, stating that drug deaths, homicides, and rapes could be reduced in half. Well, rapes will not be reduced in half because rapes are an individual sitting at their house or wherever they're at, making a decision silently to themselves that they're going to go do something, then attacking a person when they're least suspecting it, and making sure that police are not around. So I don't think you're going to get the heads up on rapes, bro. But hey, good luck. The FBI's cartel
rape tip line.
Your cartels aren't going to call you to let you know where the drops are happening either. I just want to let you know, bro, because everything is a conspiracy podcast for him. So calm down.
Yeah, that's true.
He argued that restoring public trust in the FBI requires significant leadership changes, but defended the agency's rank-and-file agents. Oh, wait. So the rank-and-file agents are fine, but the leadership is out of control. No, it sounds like you're just trying to get leaders that are loyal to Trump in there. Nobody else matters because
get out.
You're just going to fire them anyway.
We're going after everyone.
When pressed on whether he would support pardons for those convicted of assaulting police officers during the Capitol attack, Patel opposed them and insisted his decisions would be based on law and facts. They were literally in the Senate hearings with him, standing behind him, protecting him there that day. They told him to turn around and look at those men, that some of them were there the day of January 6th, and he couldn't do it because
he probably started laughing.
Is it police are pussies? Is it FBI or pussies? Is it LEO that are pussies? Because it seems to me if you're going to be the toughest badass LEO that exists in the FBI, you should be able to turn around and look people face to face as you accuse them of things or not. Like, I feel like this. Despite Democratic opposition, Patel's confirmation is likely given the Republican majority Senate. His defenders portray him as a fighter against the federal corruption, while critics warn of political influence over law enforcement. His confirmation would mark a major shift in the leadership of the FBI under Donald Trump and in his administration. Now, we've talked a little bit while we were reading the story, but Jason, I think that the one thing that stands out to me the most here is a couple of things. He provided me with the funniest moment of the entire day. See, during the one part of the hearing, it was brought to the attention of everyone that Kash had produced and promoted rap music about January 6th.
That is true.
And it was one of the most on-brand Kash Patel things this poser could ever have put together on. It was amazing because I'm sitting there looking like, yeah, dude, you look like dudes in the music industry I dealt with who are trying to capitalize off of crazy stuff, and they put out some of the worst music and promote it, and then everybody's supposed to sit there and pretend like it's real. This man is a conspiracy theorist and has been on podcasts.
Yeah, totally. Saying weird stuff.
So during the situation, Dick Durbin.
Yes.
We love Dick Durbin.
Yeah, he's pretty tough, right?
Well, the name's Dick Durbin.
Right?
It's double D.
Sounds like he's got a Chevy dealership.
Right, it's double D. Dick Durbin Chevy. It's Dick
All right,
Durbin
come on
Chevy.
down to DD's.
Dick Durbin Chevy in Winfield, Missouri, right off of Highway Y. Okay, now, Dick Durbin put it to him and was like, listen, man, do you know a guy named Stu Peters? And Kash looked him right in the face and goes, I don't know, or I don't recall. I don't know who that is. Blatantly said it. He goes, you went on his podcast for over an hour 8 different times. Now, that might surprise none of you who are conservatives and go, well, yeah, he can go on podcasts. He could do things like that. That's fine, Mark. Why is that a problem? I don't understand how that's a problem. Maybe he forgot about this stupid podcast or something. Except, ladies and gentlemen, Jason,
yes.
What does Kash Patel want to do right now?
He wants to be the director of the FBI.
He wants to be the director of the FBI, and those people who are directors of the FBI typically have, like a Christopher Wray, typically have a background in investigating things, do they not? That's where they started. Well, let's be honest, and like obviously you can be taken and just put there, but I would say over the last 40 years, if I look at all of the FBI directors of the last 40 years and all of the presidents over the top of them, I bet most of them had over 10 years of experience in police work and LEO and investigating, and had probably worked for the FBI for some period of time prior to getting the position as the director of the FBI. Okay, Jay.
Yeah, they were usually agents before.
Hang with me, Jay. You're not high yet. Here's the deal.
Well, that's great to know.
If you're supposed to be this badass investigator who remembers and knows things and can piece things together like a profiler could for the FBI or the CIA, and you're in the position of being on top and in charge of those people, it would probably be thought that you remember things like 8 individual hour-long conversations with a guy named Stu, of all things. Stu. Like, how many people are named Stu that you
talk to 8 times for an hour?
Which, by the way, spelled S-T-E-W, Stu.
Yes,
right?
like as in beef.
But I'm just saying, Stu Peters, right? The guy's name is Stu Peters.
Stop it.
And with that being said, you were on his show 8 times. You didn't think that was an important piece of information to remember or know?
You didn't ask me that.
Like, you didn't think to like you didn't even remember the guy's name. Like, let's not even worry about what you said on the podcast or the fact that you were on it.
No, everything's fine.
This guy had you on thinking that, hey, me having Kash Patel on this show is a great thing for my show because, Jay, we have a show.
We do.
It's called the Occupy Denver. I mean, it's called the QNow is what it's called. It's called the QNow show.
It is.
And when we are on this show, we have guests on.
We do.
And those guests, they sit with us.
Sometimes.
They talk to us.
Sometimes.
Like Keegan, they come back multiple times.
Wasn't he great?
Right? And by the way, we remembered the first time Keegan was on.
Yes.
We also remembered the second time Keegan was on.
Yes.
And by the way,
if you asked me,
it doesn't even matter what Keegan was on for. If you asked me and Jason a year from now,
I'm not forgetting.
We're not forgetting that Keegan was a person who came on our show, or Moshe was, or Jonathan May, or any of the, or John Shepard, who runs the station.
You come on more than once.
If you come on more than once, we know who you are. Yes. By the way, we also know Carol Iones and Stephen Blair, who only came on once.
Yes.
They were only on our show once. We still know. We also know that they're school board members. Like, we know, like. Kash Patel went on to a conspiracy podcast specifically designed for the world that he likes to play and pretend and be Gravy Seal in, and then he couldn't remember the unique name of the guy that even. And by the way, like I said, when these people come on, we go, man, maybe Keegan goes off and becomes well known, and maybe he'll turn around and tell people, hey, that QNow show. There's a show that's on Fox News in St. Louis. You should check it out with Mark and Jason. It's called the QNow. Maybe he'll give us a little love.
Yeah.
This guy's probably sitting there banking on, all right, here it is. They just brought my name up. Like, Kash is going to say, yeah, that's the dude. That's the dude. Now, they all know that Stu's name came up, that Kash was on the podcast, and they could go find the Stu Peters podcast, all 8 of them, with Kash on it, because they could just go Google. By the way,
so great to finally meet you again.
By the way, what I would have done.
Remember when we hung out?
If I would have been Dick Durbin in that situation,
right.
You know what I would have done, Jay? You know what I would have done?
How was he not
I would have been like,
star?
Mr. Patel, could you pull your phone out of your pocket? I'd like for you to Google search something for me.
Call this guy right now.
No, Google search something for me. Could you search up Stu Peters? Let me spell it for you. Stu Peters and Kash Patel. I don't know if you know how to spell Kash. It's Kash. And then and make him look it up on his own thing and go, now, I just asked you that question. You just looked it up. Everyone in here just like Katie Porter would look it up on a live big screen right in front of everybody.
A projector with her wherever she goes.
She does. Like, she would have looked it up live on a big screen with Google in front of everybody and been like, do you still want to pretend? Because now because Cash, now everybody in the world can watch C-SPAN and all these networks. Yes, because Donald Trump is such a divisive individual with his personality. The whole world and all media members are watching every move he makes and everyone around him. So now you have all the eyes of the world and their megaphones pointed at you, bro. So the minute they say Cash Patel and Stu Peters on some stupid sound clip that hits Occupy Democrats or something like that, everyone just goes and searches Google
immediately.
And it's people who work at gas stations 1,000 miles from where you're sitting. They just go search it up on their phone and they go, oh, yeah, it looks like he was right here on Stu Peters' video TV show with video where we see you sitting there. No, that was a deep fake, Jay. Those were deep fakes.
Seem to be getting along pretty well.
Why would anyone make a deep fake of you on some
8
conspiracy?
different times.
And by the way, why would they choose the name Stu Peters to make a fake podcast? They could come up with way better names.
How would they know exactly what you would say? Because you've said it in other places. It's nonsense being performed right in front of us, and we're not supposed to understand. We're not supposed to recognize that this is not real. These are not facts. This is not true. We're just supposed to be quiet. Quiet.
You know, there is only one other issue I have with Cash Patel.
Yes.
And, Jay, you might not agree with me.
Okay.
When I look at Cash, I got some issues.
Yeah.
He's got one eye open, one eye halfway closed.
He looks a little sketchy.
He's got one eye that looks straight on. He's got the other one shooting at his nose and looking like to the left and sideways.
That one picture they show of him looks like a picture they show of someone who just shot up a post office.
Cash
he looks whack.
Patel looks like he would have been wearing Gravy Seal stuff next to Enrique Tarrio and hanging out with the Proud Boys literally at the Capitol on January 6th. That's what Cash Patel looks like. He doesn't even shave his beard well. He keeps a crappy 5 o'clock shadow because he sees so many videos of former military guys that are just rough and rugged that kind of got that going on. And then there it is. Like he thinks, oh, well, this is it. This is the way the world works now.
This is how you look.
This is just how you're supposed to look when all of this is going on. Cash, listen, and by the way, if Cash Patel ever would like to come on our show, sit down with us and talk to us, I would be more than willing to have him on, talk to him about conspiracies if he wants, talk about the FBI if he wants. Hey, listen, we can talk about the leadership of the FBI over the last 5 to 10 years.
Maybe
we can
let
discuss,
me see the Kennedy files.
Yeah, we could discuss all of these things with you.
They apparently don't care about
We
secrets.
don't have a problem with having you on at all to talk about any of this. You know what we do have a problem with? We're getting close to a break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break on the show. When we come back, we got another hour of fun with you. It's going to get more exciting. We'll be back on the show after these messages. 1280 AM KYRO. Welcome back to the QNow from the Gateway Fiber Studios. Mark Bland and Jason Call sitting right over there. We appreciate you guys joining us every single Thursday night live on News Radio KYRO from 7 to 9 p.m. We appreciate it. And we've got a lot of things going on in the world right now, Jay.
Yes, we do.
We've been discussing Cash Patel. We've been discussing all the stuff that's going on with our... earlier in the show...
Yes.
I said, where is Elon? And, think about this. After the famous salute moment, he has been out of the spotlight.
Roman salute.
And not allowed. I just said salute moment. And not allowed in anything. You would think that they would all be on each other's teams and be at the confirmation hearings and stuff behind the scenes, just like sitting there so that they could be seen on camera and stuff.
Nope.
But nope. I guess people are really against autism awareness and giving your heart to people on behalf of it.
Yes.
Or because of it, or however that came off. Yeah, you can do things. Don't do that stuff.
Right.
Here's the thing.
Don't have to do the other.
But we sure do have a lot less Elon right now.
Yes. That's okay, though.
And it sounds like Susie Wiles is swinging her weight around as she rolls out this Project 2025 stuff. Supposedly she had a sit down with Elon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The past week, they put freezes on many federally funded situations, grants, and even Medicaid, throwing the country into a free fall of concern and worry. The veterans and older sect of society paid in and needs those things to keep going. There is more than enough money for all of this, ladies and gentlemen. These people are coming to power, are really just kind of crappy humans right at this point. I'm not sure what else to say. I understand we're only a week in.
We're almost paying you back.
And it's like Trump's wiping poop on his own face and calling himself the Buffalo guy on January 6th. And he's doing this on behalf of patriotism and everybody. Simple-minded rural conservatives, Jason.
Yeah, that's what's running right now.
You have poop on your face and look like this because of this situation and these things. Like we said earlier, we're not against Donald Trump or his policies or ideas.
It doesn't really have policies.
Think about this. We said earlier, illegal immigration is illegal. Fine.
Right.
That doesn't mean send ICE agents to elementary schools.
No, we're not terrorizing children.
First off, number one, if you're sending ICE agents to elementary schools to look at the children potentially, okay, those are the illegal immigrants, I guess, or the immigrants in this case, that I'm willing because they have to give an address and they have to get stuff sent home from the school and they're sending their kids to school so that they can learn and become smarter and fit in and they're trying to be a part of life here and pay taxes on things. Like, come on, guys.
Meanwhile, white kids are sleeping in all the time because one parent's too, lazy to get up and these kids are going.
Sure. I watched
where to find them.
So you know what I've been doing? Sometimes late at night, hanging out, watching NBA basketball or football or whatever's on TV, the sport that I'm watching.
Right. Love it.
And I'm a big college basketball fan, so I watch different college basketball games here and there. All right, so I'll be sitting there and TikTok or Reels on Facebook or something with like the videos that can scroll, okay? Or Instagram. I might get a message from somebody on Instagram and watch something, then I'll flip through and I'll just start flipping through. Things start popping up, okay? Well, these videos will pop up of police body cam conversation. Like, so there's a situation that went down no one really knows about. Here's a 25-minute long video where there's a narrator that talks about how the situation started, then shows the body cam footage and even leaves the time in the corner so that you can see things at what time and
in real time.
Everything that happens, right? And one of the videos I watched was police for like 20 minutes had to go and sit down and talk to a mom. They woke her up knocking on the door because they brought her son home. She got mad at her son the night before and said, well, then you're going to have to walk to school tomorrow. Didn't wake him up on purpose for the bus. Didn't allow him to set his alarm so that he didn't know what time to get up. Missed the bus. So the kid, scared, crying, unhappy. He was 10 years old. He's 10 years old. She sends this kid on a 6-mile walk to where his elementary school is. That's why he has to ride the bus. 6-mile walk. He was picked. He walks up to a guy about 2 miles away from his house at this like gas station type place or like an antique shop that's an old gas station or something, and starts talking to the guy. And the guy's like, well, where are you from? Like, who are you? Like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't know what's going on. So the kid tries to explain the story as best as he can, but he's like 9-10 years old. He's a really young kid, and he's not like getting all the details out the right way. Well, when they go talk to the mom, she does like add in those gaps on the details. Kid was 100% right. That's exactly what happened. He got in trouble the night before. She said you're walking to school. Didn't set his alarm. He missed the bus. He had to walk to school. He got scared, thought he was going to get in trouble from his mom and dad, and decided to start walking to school. And he was 9 years old. God. And so, listen, I give it up to that kid. He's got a sack on him.
Right?
He's willing to take that. Yeah, he took that and was like, no, that's it. I'll make this happen. If my mom's going to be mad at me, I will walk to school. So you know what? I give it up to that kid. Great on you, kid. Yeah. I respect people like you. Like, you're the type of guy that gets out there and does things. Good. Your mom, though, absolute piece of garbage for what she did. Like, the police sat there for 20 minutes on that video talking to this mom, and she used every excuse in the book she could. Every excuse to justify why it was okay to go out and act like a complete, total moron to your 10-year-old son.
Yeah.
And listen.
It's pointless to even talk to him.
I had a convo. We were just talking about the Medicaid and Social Security and stuff and all that, the freezes that happen.
Yeah, right. And it was like, psych.
So I had this combo with a guy, okay? Hardcore Trump supporter, pre-inauguration. I had gone and sat down with him multiple times prior to the 2024 election. Because he just happens to be at a place, and my dad sometimes goes up there to get lunch, and he'll be there, and we might sit with him and talk to him, or we might sit at a different table. He'll come over and visit us for a minute or whatever.
Yes.
The guy is a person who was a total Trump supporter, die in the wool. and we had many conversations. He knows what I do for KYRO. He knows that I work for these guys and do this stuff and talk politics. But said he was worried about his Medicare and things of that nature, Jason.
That seems
when
important.
I ran into him the day that the Medicare got frozen in the morning, he was listening to the news. He heard that, and or the Medicaid got frozen, not Medicare. Medicaid.
Yeah.
But he said he was worried about his Medicare and things like that because if they're willing to go and just freeze or cut down those type of programs and just take millions of people off the board at the same time.
Now they know they can go that far.
Right.
So now they'll just dial it back and see if that gets by, and then they'll just put the screws on
it's
you
all
to that point.
It's all about just taking advantage of the situation, right? The exception to the rule, and then wrenching it the right way, and then back off a little bit. Oh, I didn't mean it like that.
Throw a couple more spigots in that line to some friends.
Tomorrow will be Donald Trump walking it back with his press secretary, the blonde. I don't even remember her name. It doesn't even matter. White
people.
But he's going to walk it back tomorrow through her, and she's going to say, well, that's not what he meant, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on.
When he said DEI, he wasn't talking about black people or people of color. It's like, well, then what is DEI for?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He must be talking about trans people. It was a trans helicopter pilot. It's like, what? What? What is going on?
Will their attack on America never stop?
But he was worried about those things.
I hate everyone.
This is what I said to that guy, Jay.
Yes.
I said, we said on this show that he would do it for a year. We were saying that on this show for a year before he got elected, that he would come in, gut the government, and do all these crazy over-the-top things that would put a lot of people at risk. We said that for a solid year before the election. This is why one of the reasons we said you shouldn't elect him.
Yeah.
There are better conservatives in your own party you guys could get behind, and millions would vote for them, and you might have still won the election, though. You might have still won the election anyway. You really might have.
Maybe you might have.
But I said, and we stated that he told people up front that he would do all of this.
Yeah.
He sat there at the rallies. He sat there on the debate stage. He sat there and told you guys all to your faces, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be a doer. These guys aren't doers. I'm going to come in and these are my ideas that I got.
You know what it is?
And he threw them out there and he told everybody, and they cheered. They clapped for every one of them. And then when he sat there on the day that he signed executive orders when he got inaugurated, and they played the video at the arena that he was doing the rally at later on, and there was thousands of people, and every time he signed one, they would say what it was to, like, what Joe Biden executive order it was to, like, shoot down. They're all screaming and cheering and clapping as loud as they can. It's like, yes, this is why I said he might bring back public execution.
You know what it is? Like when he does
legitimately public execution.
I think he could, because when he does these things, when he acts with such cruelty and people don't care, he's like the ultimate groomer, and he groomed everyone. And when he does bad things, he doesn't mean it, because he loves us. He loves us, you guys. He doesn't mean that. Come on, everyone. Let's get behind him. We're going to do great things. Blah, blah, blah. And then they get crazy again. That's what cult leaders do. That's what pedophiles do to young kids. They get them wrapped up with emotion. And this sucks, because this guy's obviously mentally ill. Obviously, something is wrong with this man. You don't say things like that unless you've got a problem. No, you don't say, well, it's DEI. And that one lady's like, and that guy's like, do you have any evidence? He goes, no, I got common sense. That's why I know.
Yeah, and what's
great.
Thanks,
listen, Mr. President.
Listen, I think I've told the story here on the show before, and it might have been in the last few months. I had a friend of mine, and in his house, they ate dog food. They would just eat it. And to them, they thought other people a lot more than just them, and more than just like a couple of people in the area. No. They didn't realize they might be one of only a handful of families in a 10-mile radius that even does this at all or thinks it's okay. They really thought it was more like 60-40. They thought it was more like 70-30 that people did this. They thought that was common sense. And they thought that that's what common sense meant. Like, if I do this, oh, you're cool with it because that's common and stuff. And I had to explain to him that that is not a common thing. That is not what is considered common sense. Common sense would be the majority rule, because that's what makes it common. And the sense would be making the good decision. So not eating dog food would be the sense you do, and that would be the common majority's vibe on it.
Are they like street salesman
No.
parents?
I think his mom worked for like Enterprise Rent-A-Car as an executive, and his dad worked at, I think he was a forklift driver, worked at a local warehouse or whatever.
They sold like crafts at art shows and stuff like that.
No, he had like normal parents that had salary jobs that just live their lives and
weird.
Do things
and they're
like
not prepper people.
No,
no. Their body used to eating this junk.
No, and I wouldn't say I've lost quite a bit of touch with that friend of mine.
That happens, right?
In the 2000s. Like before the 2000s, I saw and talked to that friend a lot more. But over the last 25 years, I've kind of lost touch with that person.
Yeah.
I don't know where their family is politically, mentally, because back when I would hang out and talk to them, I was a much younger guy in the 90s, and so like I wasn't doing politics yet or talking about it like this. And I was interested in politics. I've been interested in politics since 92. 92 is the first time I really started to pay attention to politics.
Yeah, I worked for Clinton.
Was with Clinton. That's the first time I really started to pay attention because I was in high school and I was a junior.
I was a freshman and
right. I was a sophomore going to become a junior later on that year. So it's one of those things.
That was my first presidential election I voted in.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here on the Q Now. When we come back, I got more with myself and Jason Call. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the best liberal political show and moderate political show in the United States of America. This is the Q Now. My name is Mark Bland. That is Jason Call over there. We are rocking out. We're always rocking out, Jay.
We are always rocking out. What do we do? There we go. That's my bedroom right here.
Boys, eat it.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to the Q Now.
I'll get my science grade up, Mom. Leave me alone.
Cash, bring more potato chips.
Right. Hang on, person I don't remember.
We got to watch the new Alex Jones just dropped.
Did you order more freeze-dried food?
Hey, what's going on every day? Somebody say Alex Jones.
No!
It's Alex Jones back here.
Oh, I thought we picked up all the trails.
Oh, yeah. It's me, the Macho Jones.
That guy.
Alex Jones here with the squeeze berries. I like the squeeze berries. You got to get the squeeze berries. Listen, you've got to get that prostate up. That prostate is the number one thing.
That is key to life. You're right, Alex.
To your life. It is what we need. Listen, if
let's
you
play ball. Everyone buy some
want
of
to
this.
get super on it,
you want it or not?
Super on it guns. That's right. Joe Rogan, super on it guns. That's what we're selling right now. You want gay frogs dead? This is how you get gay frogs dead. This
super
is it.
Duper gun site.
Infowars.com. Yeah, we can do that too, guys. The good old days of Alex Jones mattering with his crazy fatness.
Like, you know what? They say this is happening today.
Alex Jones is what happens when you continue to go to the weight room, but then you also continue to just eat more than you should every single day.
You can't keep up with it.
You just can't keep up, so you got a very taunt body that looks like you lift some weights. Yeah, fat strong.
Yeah. Like a
I understand.
Like an Otis.
I used to be fat strong. I used to be.
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey Jay.
Yo.
Twix, the candy bar.
Delicious sometimes.
You like Twix?
Like the little ones.
You like the little ones.
Because that way, you know.
Well, but doesn't Twix always come little? It's always like two and they're half and half,
like the
right?
Halloween size ones.
You like the snack size,
right?
fun size
like
ones.
For me, fun size doesn't mean
we call
teeny.
those Patel size. We call those Patel size. All 5 feet.
We call those women to stay at home.
We call those Patel size. Now, here's the deal. Twix has announced a contest that's running during the Super Bowl. You're going to love this.
I'm gonna kill
where
them.
viewers go to Twix's website during every commercial break and compete in a staring contest. One winner will actually get 2 gold Twix bars.
What?
I guess they're going to give a winner 2.
How do you win
I guess you just
contest?
make 2 like the fun size Twix bars and make them gold, like solid gold.
What
and
if you
give them
could
away.
get something from your doctor?
But it's a staring contest. Like the longer you can do it. And by the way, there's going to be people that just play the game and just never stop staring.
That's what I'm saying. Like, could you get something from your doctor?
It might go on for days. Like, this contest could go on for days. Like, Super Bowl ended, the guy's still staring because other people haven't dropped out. Like,
you get something from your doctor, you just put in some earbuds and just blah.
Now, I'm not that eager to get 2 gold Twix bars.
Right. I'd
For
rather
it to really
not
matter.
die. Thank you very much.
Well, it just doesn't matter to me as much.
Like, sorry, I'm dead, kids, but here's $12,000 in gold Twix bars.
Now, speaking of the Super Bowl,
Yes.
we have our Super Bowl competitor, sir.
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
one unbelievably talented Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City
good
Chiefs.
Football players.
They are a really good team. Now, hey, listen, on the other side of that coin,
there's some pretty good football players over there,
Saquon
too.
Barkley is no slouch himself.
Not at all.
And Jalen Hurts and those guys are hitting their stride the way they need. I do feel like this might end up being a pretty competitive Super Bowl.
Right.
You've got 2 teams that are really good at it. And by the way,
And their defenses aren't too bad.
Is the perfect reset. A couple of years ago, it was Eagles with Jason Kelsey's last year versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Travis and Patrick won, so the Eagles lost, and that was Jalen Hurts as the quarterback.
Yep.
He's got a reason to get back and win. They've got a reason to get it in with those boys because this is comeuppance for them. This is vengeance.
Right.
And that is a very big factor that plays in the minds of an A.J. Brown. And people like that.
He's captain of that team now, and another quarterback took that team all the way and won one, and it wasn't him. Well, he wants to get that Super Bowl for his era.
Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts have both been there that entire time, and they both know they could have had a Super Bowl ring and lost it. Now they got one more shot again.
This is it right
and by
here.
the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's tough to get to the Super Bowl. It's tough to go 4 times in 5 years.
A lot of games.
It's even harder to get 2 in a row, much less 3 in a row.
Right.
So this Chiefs team
It's hard to get
is
one.
looking solid. And by the way,
They're so explosive.
you will be able to listen to the entire Super Bowl
Right
if
here.
you're in your car right here from the Gateway Fiber Studios of KYRO at newsradiokyro.com, worldwide at the newsradiokyro.com website. You can go there and listen to any show live anywhere in the world on your phone just by clicking on it. Our station will play for you right there. But we're a real radio station. You can be in your car, 105.3, 1280 AM.
You know, we famously had a live show during a Super Bowl. It was the big Patriots comeback against the Falcons.
John Shepard.
Yes.
And me and you.
Yes.
And there
they came back from 25.
We had
points
another.
down.
We had another person there with us that night.
I think
can't
it was
remember.
Matt.
It might have been Matt.
I think it was Matt.
It might have been Matt, but we were at the Romantic Studios
That's right.
over there in Belleville.
R.I.P. Mr. Bob.
Working with the Patriot. We were on the Patriot at the time.
Right?
And John Shepard, the owner of the station, he was our board op.
He was.
He's our little board op.
Wasn't that a fun time?
Yeah, he was like, I'm Howard and you're Fred, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't even Robin. He was like
I don't think he
Sal.
wanted to be
No, he
Robin.
was Sal or
Right?
Richard. Like, do you see what I'm saying? He was Sal.
I hope not.
He was Sal. He was Sal.
I hope he wasn't very much.
But he
like
was
him at all.
he was running our board with us.
Those were the days,
and that was
right
a
there.
crazy. But that was a crazy game because
That was fun times.
we were watching this Atlanta Falcons team
Right.
dismantle Tom Brady, and we thought it was over with. And in that fourth quarter, when we watched that comeback and we got off the air, we sat glued
Stayed
to that,
there, right there in the lobby.
to the entire Super Bowl broadcast until it was over with, and we were blown away. Every
Crazy
single
stuff.
person in that lobby was blown away. We couldn't believe it.
All right.
I mean, that was a hell of a comeback.
Yeah.
It really was impressive, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you want to win?
You know, my daughter's interested in
The Bears.
football now.
I get it, but see, that's not possible.
Since I'm going to have to wait a little bit for that, let this stuff work itself out.
You said your daughter's the football fan?
She suddenly likes him because Travis Kelce's dating
Oh, yes.
Taylor Swift.
Tay-Tay. The Tay-Tay
So,
effect, we call that.
I don't have any sort of dog in the hunt, so I'll help her root the Chiefs. If the Eagles win, I won't be as crushed. I think she might be. I don't know.
I'm hoping for a competitive game. I am a Chiefs fan.
That's true.
So
you want the Chiefs to win.
I will want the Chiefs to win.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's what I'm going to do.
Listen, I am not against Saquon and Jalen winning a Super Bowl, but
somebody has to stop him.
But what I can tell you is this. Those guys got a team that's good enough right now and the right people under contract. That team will be back next year.
Oh, for sure. It might just
the
be this
same
again.
way. And they'll probably end up in the NFC Championship game again and might make it to the Super Bowl. And they'll probably get their ring then.
Yeah.
This is for history. I want to see the three-peat, not because of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I would want to
Never
see
been
the
done.
three-peat no matter what
What an
team
age.
it was. Like, literally, it could have been the LA Chargers. I'd still want to see the LA Chargers get the three-peat. Just to say I saw it
You know what?
with my own
I
eyes.
still say our age is the best.
Our age is the best?
Our age group.
Our age group,
right?
Gen X, is
Like-
amazing. Why
Like
is
5 years older than me, 5 years younger than me, 5 to
that's
6
Gen
like
X.
that.
Yeah, Gen X.
Yeah, Gen X.
What's so great about
Because
it?
we experienced the rise of tech so much that we can appreciate the tech of today. Where kids today always had this tech.
By the way,
they've
we've-
never not had this.
From the 1960s until you get to that Patriot or the Pittsburgh Steelers team that wins a bunch of Super Bowls with
Yes.
Lynn Swann in them.
Yes.
You don't have real dynasty teams. Technically, they tried to call Green Bay and Kansas City the dynasty type teams because they were the first winners.
Even the
and they was the
Patriots.
first years, and they were the classic teams that
but
started it.
Even the Patriots wins were broken up by a couple of losses.
Exactly. What has been great for Gen X when it comes to sports, especially professional football,
Yes.
is we've gotten to sit here and watch. We've gotten to watch the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty start to show itself. We got to watch the 20 years of the Brady dynasty with the Patriots, which was amazing to watch and interesting, and it gave us a lot of arguments and people to cheer for and against. Yeah. Then we also got to watch in the 1990s. We had the Broncos in the late 90s that were very
Cowboys
dominant, and we had the Bills out of the 80s into the 90s with the 4 Super Bowls in a row. That's a dominating team right there.
Right.
And then we watched 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys. So that's kind of wild, ladies and gentlemen. Gen X has seen a lot of really successful football franchises.
All when we were older.
All from when we were younger and older.
We've seen the rise of tech. To just appreciate these games today the kids have. I wish I had more free time.
You know, what
games.
makes getting to Mars a lot harder?
Yeah.
People that can't clear the air traffic out of the way so that you can shoot the rocket off and make sure that you don't hit anything.
Right.
That's tough. That makes it a
Why
lot
we
tougher.
put all these rules in place? Oh, these
Now, Jason,
GI people.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this weekend we are going to go into another great historical moment in history where Groundhog Day will happen. That's right. In honor of Groundhog Day, there is a ranking, Jason, of the most accurate weather predicting groundhogs in the United States.
Yep.
Now, I don't have the full list here, but I can tell you this. Number 1, Puxatawny Phil. Where do you think he ranks out of 19? 19 different groundhogs that exist that do this all on the same day, and this is a 1 through 19 ranking. So somebody's number 1, somebody's number 19. Where do you think Puxatawny Phil falls on the ranking? Number 1 because he's so well known and famous. Number 2, number 3, 4.
Phil's
10?
probably he's probably 8th. I feel like
you say like he's 8.
I feel like he's been accurate.
Okay.
But I also think that there's been times where it's been really snowy in
You're kind of
February.
like if I came to you and was like, where do you think?
But he's the only one I know.
Okay, that's not what I was going to ask. Well, you said it. Where on a list of 1 to 10 do you think Baker Mayfield comes in at? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
I feel like I think you're giving Puxatawny Phil the Baker Mayfield slot. You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe.
that. Now he's got a name. It resonates. He plays good. He does good, but he's going to not be the number 2, 1, 2, or 3.
Do you mean like with popularity too, or with accuracy of predicting the weather?
This is with the accuracy of predicting the weather.
That I think he's probably in the middle. If we're talking like known,
so you
he's probably
think he's in the
number
middle?
1. Yeah, I feel like it's been like some there, some
obviously
there.
known he would be probably number 1 because nobody really else
because of
knows
the
the
movie.
others. In fact, when I named this other one,
that's who he is in the movie, right?
Here on this list, Puxatawny Phil ranks 17th.
Wow, he's been that terrible.
17th out of
worse
19.
than I thought.
That's right.
You know what? I haven't felt that way apparently.
With an accuracy rating of just 35%. Only
go, dude.
35% of the time when this dude stepped up and they put it out as every news story in America.
And he's the most well known.
But you know what?
He's the worst one.
You know what I just realized? You made me laugh about this in my head and think about this. Oddly, that's kind of accurate for weather forecasters, right?
Right.
They only hit it about 35% of the time,
like, hey,
too.
everyone, look what we did.
So Puxatawny Phil might actually be the norm. He might not be. He might be right in the middle of the bell curve is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might be right in the middle. First place goes to Staten Island Chuck from New York. His name is Staten Island Chuck.
Dock worker.
You ready for this? He literally. His accuracy, Jason.
Yeah.
85%.
Wow.
Now, that is not indicative of weathercasters in America at all. Like, that is...
That's a groundhog?
That's a groundhog with an 85% accuracy rating. So maybe we should
let other species do this.
Maybe, ladies and gentlemen, we should start based off of this list. Listen, this list is historical, Jay. So
it could be a TV show.
It's already taking into account
put these animals against each other in games of skill.
Sure,
and see who wins.
Like Squid Game. Got it.
There we go. Shoot the losers.
But I think it's funny because it's like, well, they've been pushing Punxsutawney Phil for so long. That's kind of their default, right? But if Staten Island Chuck is swinging the hammer bigger and better, I feel like Staten Island Chuck should be the one who gets the love on that day a little bit because he's more accurate. Now, if his rating starts to fall, whoever's in the number one position, they get to become number one.
That guy sounds like Bruce Springsteen's first tour manager, And in 1969, he got with Staten Island Chuck and did a tour of the East Coast.
Dick Durbin and Staten Island. They went down to Dick Durbin Chevy.
Yeah, Staten Island Chuck. Starring Studs for Hire.
That's right. You guys want to get those squeeze bears, but you need to get over to Dick Durbin's Chevy. That's right, Dick Durbin's Chevy. Bring your boy Staten Island Chuck with you. Get on over there. Grab some on it. Super on it. Joe Rogan's going to be there. The live podcast. We'll be doing it live from Infowars.com. Infowars.com. There's a TikTok account called Catherine Hates Boomers.
Okay.
Do you know what a boomer is?
Oh, yeah, my parents.
Yes. Well, do you know why they're called boomers?
Because they were born
during the baby boom.
The war,
Right. Yes, they were part of the baby boom in most cases.
Guys came home and were like, "Get over here."
Yeah, get over here.
Let's all have babies.
It's me, Staten Island Chuck.
Staten Island Chuck. I've been fighting the Nazis. Yo.
I've been saluting like my boy Elon. So, Catherine Hates Boomers is going viral, Jason.
Okay.
The woman claims she knows the real reason your boomer boss schedules so many meetings at work.
Oh, okay.
So think about this. Like, you've got a boss, right?
And maybe
they're a boomer. Maybe they are 60 years old and they're just in charge of the whole department, right? They're over at Dick Durbin's Chevrolet, right? And at Dick Durbin's, they've got a 60-year-old sales manager, right? But he's calling a meeting twice a week, dude. And we sit there for 30 minutes twice a week listening to this man rant and rave, and he doesn't say a thing worth anybody's time. Do you know why they do this, Jason? Because I'm going to tell you.
I guess so he feels important. I don't know.
Correct. It's just to make themselves feel important.
Yeah.
That is the actual line on the story. The reason why she's going viral is because the reason is she thinks they just want to feel important. And actually, Jason, off the top of his head, when I just presented him to ask him why she thought this, his first answer was they probably just want to feel important. Yeah. There it is. And people just want to beat their chest and feel important.
The scary thing about these people is then no matter the outcome, if it turns around, they say, hey, see, I gave the team a talk the other day. If it plummets, they say, I don't understand. I gave the team a talk the other day. Either way, they either jump away or they grab on.
We are very heavily TikTok infused on this show because another TikTok video I watched was a magician. After the Keegan stuff, some magicians, you know how it is. We say words and then advertisements and videos pop into your feed and you can watch them.
Look for one thing one time.
So this guy was teaching people how to do a specific card magic trick.
Yeah.
And when he got to the last two cards, he goes,
car ads.
He goes, this is the card that's going to be their card. But if they say it's this card, go, good, we're going to get rid of that one, and we're going to keep this one. But if they point to that card, say, good, we're going to get rid of that one and throw the bad one away and keep this one. Do you see what I'm saying? You say the same thing, but in an opposite way, and it just kind of comes off as, I told them either way. Like, how can I be blamed for this? Obviously, I'll get what I want out of it. Do you see? This is just a technique people use in life. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, me and Jay are going to get out of here with you. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to White Snake Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
Woohoo!
White Snake Radio.
What's up?
KYRO.
Yeah.
What about
Been waiting all night. Wouldn't that have been a great time to be a DJ at a rock
Jason,
station
I
in
feel like
L.A.? Good
you
Lord.
and me would have met at a
When we
Keishi.
die, that's what we come back as.
I believe you and me would have met at like a Keishi or a K-Rock out in L.A.
Wow.
And we would have had two different separate shifts, but always had smoke breaks around the same time. And we would have ended up becoming friends like that. I feel like that's very on the table for how things would have gone. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back to the QNow, ladies and gentlemen. Fun with my friend Jason Call over here. We've been talking about a lot of things today. If you're just joining us, I've got some letters and some questions from the listeners, Jay. Are you ready to handle these?
Yes.
Are you sure? Mm-hmm. You seem preoccupied. Why do religious people always need physical evidence for each and every step of evolution,
right.
But when it comes to God, all they need is faith?
That's that trickery, man.
Well, that's a great question. Let's talk about that for a second.
They're able to
every single
teach
time
it well,
they want to argue about science, they need a proof every step of the way that this can recreate that and this is that. But then when we go recreate your thing, they go, you've got to have blind faith. Yeah. It'll never come back while I'm alive.
I guess I would say evolution doesn't give people comfort, and for them believing gives them comfort.
All right, it's time for my famous shh. Now everybody listen to me. Shh. I got to quiet down. I want everybody to listen to me. Here you go. So if what I just said bears to pass, right, Jason, right? We need this, and your guy, and it comes like, how sucky of human beings are you on this earth right now that your own God that's supposed to come back doesn't choose your time period at all because you have no value to them? That's it. That's why they haven't come back yet. They haven't decided to come back. Maybe it's what I just said that sets that thing in motion. One night around a pit fire, we talked about that. Weird things, Jason, that where you never know what's going to set something into motion.
Yes.
And my friend was sitting there, and his daughter was eating a candy bar. And it was around Halloween time. We're sitting by the pit fire, and it was later. She's hanging out with us. She's getting tired. He takes and throws the wrapper into the thing. Then she turns around and takes her wrapper and throws it into the fire. Okay, she's just doing what her dad did. Cool. Then her dad turns around and says to all of us, what if her throwing that candy wrapper right then into the fire and watching it burn up before it even got near the wood and all this other stuff, what if that was the thing that set everything else off for what would end up being anarchy or chaos or
blew up
or
maybe
turned everybody's life into millionaires and everyone around them became amazing and life would became what if it's me just tapping this pen 3 times like that, and it's there it is, that was what we were looking for, that guy that day on that show tapped that pen 3 times, gone. That's wild to think.
Somebody watched that, did this, created that happened 10 years later.
We always talk about those questions we'd like to know when we die afterwards. I'd like to know all of the things that were required to have had to have happened for major other things to have existed. So what I just said, I go, hey, listen, so we had 9/11, right? But show me the thing or things where this set in motion, it started the chain of events that would lead to this. And I'm not talking about it was this phone call from Bin Laden. I'm talking about what thing was that's the this. And it could be this guy that worked with Bin Laden got slapped by his wife for cheating on her an hour before he met up with Bin Laden.
He was like, yeah, let's do it.
Was the thing. Exactly. That was the thing. And he comes to Bin Laden. He's so angry. He just goes, let's do it.
Yeah,
we're doing it now. And you go, wait a second.
Oh, wow.
9/11 and all those people died because a person got slapped for cheating on their wife? Get the hell out of here. That would be mind-blowing. All right, Jason.
You're not far off. Things do get set in motion sometimes by immediate reactions.
They do.
Stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Is it really so weird to not like drinking alcohol? Actually, no.
You know, Jim Gaffigan had a great bit on that, talking about nobody acts that way about mayonnaise.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody acts that way about.
Like, do you want mayonnaise in your sandwich? And they're like, no.
No, I really don't.
You have a problem with
you got
mayonnaise?
a problem with mayonnaise?
Oh, okay. No. Oh, okay. We want to have mayonnaise.
But as a person,
alcohol, if you
as
say
a
you don't want
person
it,
with diabetes, number one, I don't try to drink much because
it's
of
unwanted carbs.
the sugar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And certain alcohol.
Certain.
And then on top of that,
Yes.
I'm just not a fan of the flavor of alcohol typically, whether it's beer
depends on what it is.
or even whiskey.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the taste of
Yeah.
alcohol. Alcohol in itself, and we talked about this recently on the show with Don, I think, does not taste good. Like, it doesn't have a good flavor to it. They always have to try to dress it up. And even with whiskey, it's like, well, we tried to dress it up with an oak barrel and the peat that we did this with. And it's like, but it still tastes crappy. Like,
I don't mind drinks that taste amazing. I don't like drinks where you taste alcohol because it makes you feel like you're drinking.
You know what I really hate?
Gross and
when
it's
there's
who wants to do that? You know,
one that you've drunk in the past.
Yes.
And it gave you that gag reflex vibe, and so every time that smell
Hot Damn
comes
100.
around, every time that smell comes around or it touches your lips, you automatically kind of go into that heave, dry gag kind of vibe,
I was,
and then you just turn
22.
away from it.
22.
Mine was Rumplemints. Mine
Same
was
type of
Rumplemints.
thing.
Oh, it's horrible. Hot Damn 100 I can at least deal because I like Goldschlager, and I didn't mind all those.
Also, 100 proof peppermint schnapps will do it.
So is Fireball bad for you?
I've never even tried it.
Fireball's just cinnamon whiskey.
I've never had it.
It's Hot Damn. It's Hot Damn with whiskey.
That's
It's
what I had.
cinnamon
I had
whiskey.
Hot Damn 100, and I got really sick off it one night on the way to Van Halen.
Now, this is whiskey that tastes like Hot Damn, so it's just Hot Damn again is what it is.
But I've never tried.
Remember
cinnamon
how popular like Hot Damn and De Coopers and all that really was?
All of that. They had peach schnapps. They had.
Oh, we drank peach schnapps by
peppermint
the
schnapps.
bottles.
They had Hot Damn. They had that. They had.
Remember there was Avalanche and Everclear.
Yeah.
Well, there's Everclear. Purple Passion. You're talking about Gen X being the greatest. We had Purple Passion and Mad Dog 2020.
You know, our parents, like, at least
Which,
for
by the
me,
way, Mad Dog, horrible. Ugh.
For me and, like, the kids I grew up with, I don't remember anyone's parents ever telling us the difference in alcohol. Like, liquor is different than beer. You can't drink a gigantic glass of 100 proof schnapps.
I famously thought
be alive.
there was bottles of water. It was. Hold on. Let me finish this.
And if schnapps is really cold, you
Hold
can
on,
drink
Jay.
it fast.
Let me finish this.
Yeah.
My mom and dad had a dry bar, and in the dry bar they had airplane bottles of vodkas and mixers and stuff like that for that purpose.
Yeah.
I thought the clear ones had water in them because they were clear like water.
There you go.
So then I had my little brother come sit down in front of the dry bar with me one day when I was like 7 years old or 6 years old or whatever it was.
Knock back some Smirnoff.
I was a little. He was like 4, so maybe I was like 8. He was closer to like 4 or 5, and I was like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I had him sit down, and I poured it up thinking it was water, and I gave it to him, and he started to drink it like water, and immediately, of course, it was all over his chest and his body, and he's spitting it out, and he's hating life. And this is a poor kid, and we're young, and I didn't know any better, and he didn't know any better.
It smells like a
and
salesman
it wasn't that
from
our
the 50s.
parents. It wasn't that our parents, by the way, named us John, Mark, and Luke Matthew. It's not like
For no reason.
It's not like exactly, for no reason. It's not like we weren't part of a family that grew up with the right mentality in the area we lived in. So it was just this culmination of things young kids do at a time.
Sure.
And I to this day feel bad for it because now that I'm older and I look back on that, I go, oh, that's crazy. Like, that's wild that happened. But, you know, kids do kid things. And that happened that day, and it was just kind of wild.
Like, I lucked out. My kids never did any of the stuff I did. And some of the stuff I did
My kids
was
have
nuts.
not really. Well, our kids are also growing up a little more recluse.
Yeah,
a little
they're taught
different.
more early. That's why I said, like, I was never taught anything about that. Like, we had that famous discussion off the air about things I wasn't taught.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
This is important.
Yes.
You're a father, and
I
you have
am.
been a father of adult children as well as
Yes.
teenagers for
Yes.
quite a few years now.
Couple, yeah.
And with that being stated,
Yes.
your dad raised you.
Sure.
And there were
Well,
things
my mom
that.
too.
Right, Jay, stop. Calm down, man. Let me finish. Your dad raised you.
Of course.
And he had certain things that were indicative of him as a person,
Sure.
like that you remember growing up, that your dad, like, oh, we would never talk loud in the hallway because he would always scream and slam the door. So, like, that's one of those things. No, I'm just using an example.
Yeah.
Those type of things.
Yeah.
Like, there was little things Dad didn't like that we always, or Mom didn't like that we always watched for, and it was kind of like part of growing up. One of the things I noticed about Gen X specifically is our parents were the latchkey parents. So they didn't mind leaving us to ourselves, right? The street lights come on, come home type thing. So we were kind of left to our own devices quite often. And so it wasn't that they didn't care about us, but I did have a question. As a father now, that you've been doing it for quite a few years, and now you also have adult kids as well as teenage ones. You've like been through all the different stages of development at this point. Mm-hmm. Is there things that you did in your house growing up with these kids that you purposely went out of your way to teach them or show them because you felt like, oh, that's something my dad missed, and I really wish he would have done that or would have talked to me about this or told me that? Have you done that?
Telling them not to don't just follow the crowd. Like
your dad never told you that?
Oh, my parents never. Nobody's parents did. Nobody told me don't.
Yeah, it's
don't
true. Like
take
I said,
things from people.
If you send a bunch of kids out to play
stuff,
in the street until the street lights come on, whatever those 6 kids on their bikes decide in their circle, that's the thing that teaches you who you are as a person.
You know, when I was like in 7th or 8th grade, some new girl at school, in my little teeny Catholic school, her dad was like a dentist or a doctor. She brought Valium to school. They were yellow. I didn't know what they were. They looked like Nuprin. You remember Nuprin?
Oh, yeah.
Yellow pills?
Yeah, Nuprin.
They looked like Nuprin.
Sudafed.
I took like 4.
Or not Sudafed. What do they call that?
Like it was like a headache
ibuprofen.
pill. Yeah. I took like 4 more of them. I was knocked out. My parents picked me up. I couldn't talk. I couldn't walk. They freaked out. They had made me pee in a jar, and they took it to the hospital, and then they were like, he's on Valium. And you know who got in trouble? I did.
You got in trouble for that?
I did. You know who didn't? You know who didn't get to go to the school dance? Me. You know who did get to go to the school dance? The girl who gave me the pills.
All right, now, Jay.
Catholic school my ass.
It's time for us to about get out of here on the show, but before we start, and you know when I point, that's
right.
I
thought you were.
No, you're good. You're good. You're on the top of it.
Yeah,
Listen, I have a letter from a listener. I want to read it real quick.
All right, let's do it.
Hi, I listen a lot and want some advice. My wife and I have been together almost 20 years. I like her sisters very much. My wife is the kindest woman on earth. I've never heard her say anything bad about her 2 sisters. Around Thanksgiving, she and her sisters, we'll call her Carrie, got into it over planning for Christmas. After the argument, my wife called her to apologize. Instead of graciously accepting the apology, Carrie lit her up like the 4th of July, saying she favors one of our kids over the other. She brought up other things that never happened 5 years ago, and then she and my wife she said that my wife never lets anything go. She went on eviscerating my wife for 45 minutes. My wife barely got a word in edgewise. Thanksgiving was at Carrie's house, and it was icy. My wife was polite and didn't say much. Same for me. The month of December came and went. We saw Carrie at Christmas, icy again. Carrie finally called and apologized earlier this month. My wife accepted the apology. There was no real explanation given. I mean, she came at my wife's parenting. Who does that? My wife is not only my wife, she's my best friend, my girlfriend, my queen. I immediately blocked Carrie and her useless husband on all social media platforms after the argument. My wife wants me to be nice. I don't know if I can. Any advice?
Do what you're doing, right? I mean,
well,
who does
first
that
off,
to you?
Your wife is not her and her sisters. Also, don't forget this. Her and her sisters are always going to have a different type of a relationship that they've built up over the years that you know about and are privy to, but you're not a part of their relationship. Yeah. So you let them work their stuff out between them. You don't need to get involved. You can be there to support your sister. You can be there to talk about all these different things with your wife. I'm sorry, not your sister, with your wife. But like, you don't need to be involved in that, right? They argued, they fought, she apologized, didn't accept it, they fought more, icy Christmases, then she came back and apologized, right? Their situation worked itself out over time, but it worked itself out. It's not the place of spouses and significant others, in most cases, to get in the middle of family business unless they absolutely need to.
You can unfollow them. You don't have to unfriend them.
You know what? Listen, I have family members that literally, Jason,
Yes.
these family members, they do not want to be my friend on social media.
Oh.
They are family members, cousins, first cousins in some cases, or the kids of somebody who's somebody like that'll be friends with my wife and my somebody else in my family, like a couple other, and it's like no matter how many times I send a friend request, they don't want to be cool with me. I don't understand that because I feel like it's one of those situations where, well, it can work itself out. Anyway, it's about time for us to get out of here on this episode of the QNow, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, I want to thank my friend Jason Paul for being on the show with us once again. We always want to make sure you guys know every single Thursday night, 7 to 9 p.m., right here at newsradiokyro.com. That's where you can find me and Jason Call on the show, the QNow. And if you want to find us on Twitter or anywhere else, find Jason Call online at Featherbangs. And I am at Mark Bland. And that's going to do it for us on this episode of the QNow. We will see you guys next time on the show.